right in here, so closer up to the quad, and then the side butt. Side butt.
1, 2, 3, that's the speed of the C. ABC, that's the speed of the D. You could dream a little dreamer, you could live a little dream. I'd rather live it. The dream is always chase, but never get it.
How you guys doing? This is Dr. Karo. I'm here with Jaime. So a lot of you guys have a problem with getting into the squat, and our squat is going to be our test, retest, kind of the thing we're shooting to make better. First thing we're going to start out with is a little bit of foam rolling. What we want to do is just kind of make the tissues a little bit more pliable so that when we get into mobility, they're a little bit more pliable, they're movable, and they can slide on each other a little better. So the pieces that we're going to work is right above the knee, and that's going to be just some of that quad that gets tied down, that gets tacked down to the kneecap. And Jaime's kind of rolling up and down. What he's doing is he's hunting for an area that feels sensitive or sore. And what he wants to do is basically put some pressure on there, sit on it, make it less sensitive, and that's your goal whenever you're doing any kind of tissue work, is basically for it to suck less. So he's going to work some of the bottom of the quad, distally down by the knee, and then he's going to come up, and then he's going to work on closer to the hip. So he's kind of right by that hip bone, and he could either mash up and down, or you can do like a little seesaw side to side. It's just a way to do this. There's many ways to do it. However you like to do it, go for it. So once he's got his quads pretty mashed up, he's gonna roll back over a little bit more and get some of that side glute. Some of that side butt is a lot of tissue that gets tacked down and doesn't allow for good hip mobility. So he's gonna just break that up. However long he needs to do this, spend some time, quality time, 1, 2, 3 minutes, whatever it may be. Once we're good with that, then we can get into some of the mobility pieces. So this first piece is for the anterior hip. A lot of times when people squat, they feel this pinching that they have right in the front. This is something that you want to do if you have that pinching, to kind of get at that tissue to make it better so that it can roll in the hip socket, in the hip joint better. So what we have here is a band that's hooked up to a rail. It's giving him distraction. It's pulling him forward. As he's getting distraction, he's tucking his butt under and he's pushing his hip forward to work on the front of that quad, whatever it may be. It's the front of that hip. So the second piece here is we're gonna work on the hamstring, some of the back stuff. A lot of you people, I would say like 85 to 90% of people, have really poor hamstring mobility, flexibility. You guys sit a lot. And it doesn't work right. We're gonna do this in 2 different ways. There's more ways to do this, but we're just gonna pick these 2 to make it a little bit more simple. So the first way is basically he's gonna bend his knee, the leg that you're working, and then he's gonna bend at his hip as far as he can. He's gonna close that hip down as far as he can, and once he's at his limit, once he's at that end range, he's gonna start pushing his knee back. He can either use his hands, or he's gonna just use, his muscles just kind of pushing his knee back. What we did there is we elongated this piece with the hip first by closing it down, and then working further down by his knee. So where you'll feel this is kind of further down the hamstrings that go across the knee. That's where you should feel this a little bit more. But if you feel it up higher, no big deal. That's kind of where you're tight. Your body's telling you that. The second way to do this, he's gonna come on out, and now he's gonna straighten his knee. Back in. So he's gonna have that distraction, he's gonna have a straight knee, and now the stretch is gonna come from just bending the hip. And he's gonna go as far as he can and try to maximize that stretch with a straight knee. And this is gonna get some more of the high piece up by the glute, up by that sit bone that you feel. That's the attachment of the hamstring. And you could also start feeling it in your low back. If you start feeling it in your low back, or you start rounding, you want to just come back out and reset. We want to do this stretch with a neutral spine so that you don't round. Third piece we're going to work on is what we call a groiner. This is a pretty badass stretch. You can do it with the band or without. All these stretches you can do with the band or without. The band just supplies us with a little bit of extra. So if you have one, use it. If you don't, no big deal. You can still do this. So what Jaime's going to do is he's going to set up into that groiner position. He's going to have his foot, the leg that he's working on, in front of the knee. What we want to do is have a flat foot, just like if you were going to squat, and you're going to constantly try to push the knee out. Now he's got a pretty good position with his back. If you notice, his back is flat, he's not rounding. That's probably going to be the first thing that some of you might want to address, is that rounded back. With this nice flat back, he's actually going to try to pull his belly button into his heel. So that's where the stretch comes from. He's constantly keeping his foot flat, and he's constantly keeping his knee out. It simulates the squat, and it's going to help you get those knees out for that hip mobility. All right, ideally, we would like to do these mobilizations for about 2 minutes. That's when you start seeing changes happen and changes occur. That doesn't necessarily mean if you start feeling lengthening and stretching happen earlier that you're not getting that. But feel it out, go by that kind of plan. Try to shoot for 2 minutes per exercise, and then move on to either the other leg, the other side, or the other stretch that we're going to work on in that order, or mix and match. See how you feel, see what works for you. This is also experimentation on your part, and this isn't the way to do it. This is just one of the ways to do it. So thank you, Jaime. NorCal out.
1, 2, 3, that's the speed of the C. ABC, that's the speed of the D. You could dream a little dream, and you could live a little dream. I'd rather live it. The dream is always chase, but never get it. 1, 2, 3, that's the speed of the C. ABC, that's the speed of the D. You could dream a little dream, and you could live a little dream. I'd rather live it. The dream is always chase.
Thanks for the matching shirts, guys.
Yeah, I know, right?
Cute.